Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Kandi Anandha Budhida, and I'm one of the member of Group 3. And today's occasions we will present to you about food estate reform of food and climate security. As an introduction to this presentation, I'm gonna explain to you about the definitions of food estate and the history of food estate. So guys, the food estate program is the critical component of Indonesia's strategy to achieve the food security, reduce dependency on imports, and mitigate the impact of global disruptions such as climate change. The food estate program was first launched under President Joko Widodo to boost agricultural productivity by developing large scale of farms for crops like rice, maize, cassava, and sugarcane. With Prabowo Subianto now elected as a new president of Indonesia, this food estate program raises a few questions like about the sustainability and environmental policy of this program. Next, I'm gonna explain to you about the history of the food estate program. So this program consists of 3 periods. The first is namely food estate era 1. In this era, Suharto as the president of Indonesia was initiated the 1 million hectare peatland project in Central Kalimantan. Next, the food estate era 2. In this program, during the administrations of President Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono, the program was titled Merauke Integrated Energy Estate, or MIFEE, in 2010. And the last one is the food estate era 3. And this era was led by Defense Minister Prabowo Subianto under Joko Widodo's administration in 2022. That's all from me. Explain the definition of food estate and the history of the food estate. Thank you so much.
The food estate program is not just an ordinary program, but a policy that has given rise to much controversy and debate. Hello, I'm Naysha Sasni, and we will talking about what's the pro and contra about food estate. So, the food estate goal is to provide food reservoirs for the community and help local farmers to fertilizer and agricultural equipment. This program is also expected to reduce dependence on food imports and absorb more labor to supporting sustainable development. However, its implementation is considered hasty and inappropriate. This has caused serious impacts such as massive deforestation, planting on unsuitable land, drought, and crop failure. In fact, several areas have experienced flooding due to careless management. In addition, the involvement of migrant farmers is contrary to the original goal of empowering local farmers. As a result, this program is seen as detrimental to farmers and damaging the environment without comparable results. Thank you so much.
From the ongoing controversy, at least we have learned some of the negative impacts felt by the community related to the opening of the food estate land. Land clearing through deforestation and the excessive use of peatlands can have a bad effect on the community living around the area and have a future impact on the climate crisis. I'm Goetawa, a presenter from Group 3, will further explain the negative impacts of food estates on the environment. First one is deforestation. To open land for the food estate, massive forest clearing is required. Greenpeace estimates that if the food estate project continues, it could clear up to 3 million hectares of forest in Indonesia. This causes deforestation and the loss of biodiversity in several regions. A study by the Center of Economic and Law Studies, CELIS, reveals a risk of increased carbon emissions due to forest clearing. The carbon dioxide emissions could reach up to 782.45 million tons, equivalent to 143.74% of Indonesia's annual deforestation emissions. This contradicts Indonesia's commitment to achieving net zero emissions by 2050. Second is peatland degradation. Food estate projects are often developed on peatlands, which play a vital role as water reservoirs, carbon sinks, and climate regulators. Opening peatlands causes erosion, nutrient depletion, and change in hydrological patterns that trigger floods and droughts. If this continues, it will contribute to drastic climate change. Third is water pollution. Food estate is designed to meet national food security with high production targets in a short time. To maximize crop yields, farmers rely heavily on chemical fertilizers and pesticides to promote rapid plant growth and control pests instantly. However, excessive use of fertilizers and pesticides in food estate agricultural lands can pollute water sources and damage aquatic ecosystems. This pollution can trigger diseases such as diarrhea, cholera, and dengue fever, which negatively impact the health of local communities.
My name is Tamara Syabani Ahmad. I will explain the negative impact of the food estate program on the social sector. Before I explain the negative impact of the food estate program on the social sector, I would like to emphasize that this initiative is not without benefit. In many ways, the food estate program has made positive contribution. This program can encourage the participation of the younger generation in agriculture, strengthen the cooperation between farmers, and bring new enthusiasm to rural development. However, behind this benefit, of course, there's serious social challenge that should not be ignored. This impact are especially felt by indigenous people and traditional farming communities. Now, I will explain the negative impact of the food estate program on the social sector. First, ignoring traditional knowledge. Food estate projects are often implemented through a top-down approach, which fail to include or respect the traditional agricultural wisdom of indigenous peoples. Instead, the government promotes a modern monoculture farming system that replaces diverse and ecologically harmonious traditional practice. This exclusion results in the loss of cultural identity and weaken the relationship between communities and their ancestral lands. Second, social disturbance. Many local farmers stated that they were not properly included in the planning or decision-making process. The older generation in particular found it difficult to adapt to the new technologies and farming schedules introduced by the program. This mismatch between government expectation and local realities lead to confusion, dependency, and even migration from agriculture, especially among those who felt left behind or unable to adapt. Third, cultural erosion. In indigenous areas such as Papua or among the Daya people, land has a sacred value not only for farming but also deeply connected to spiritual beliefs and cultural ritual. The clearing the forest land for large-scale agriculture disturbed this long-standing relationship. Forests that were once considered spiritual protector are now treated as commercial assets. This shift caused cultural disintegration and threatens the spiritual balance of entire communities.
Hello everyone, my name is Andi Salsabila and today I'm going to elaborate the strategic solution for a sustainable food estate. First, agroecological land use planning ensure land suitability through scientific assessments and sustainable land management practices. Second, community-centered development empower local farmers by involving them in planning, execution, and benefit sharing. Third, crop diversification promote intercropping and mixed farming to enhance resilience and food variety. Fourth, green technology adoption utilize precision farming, organic inputs, and eco-friendly irrigation systems. And the last one is continuous evaluation and adaptation. monitor outcomes regularly, and adapt strategies based on environmental and social feedback. And for the conclusion, a food estate is a large-scale agricultural development designed to boost food production and support economic growth. Historically, food estates have evolved as a response to increasing global food demand and challenges like climate change and land degradation. To ensure sustainability, modern food estates must adopt integrated strategies combining agroecological principles, climate smart agriculture, efficient resource management, and inclusive governance. Through stakeholder collaboration and technological innovation, sustainable food estates can enhance productivity, protect ecosystems, and improve community livelihoods, thereby securing long-term food security and environmental resilience. A sustainable food estate works best when we combine eco-friendly farming methods with new technology and make sure everyone involved has a say. Then, how can we best mix natural farming practices, modern tech, and fair decision making to make food estates truly sustainable? This question opens the door for deeper exploration into practical strategies and real-life examples of sustainable food estates models. And that's all from us. Thank you so much for listening. Bye.